Hi, everyone. It's Tony Rost here, CTO at Toad. We are debriefing CES today. We're joined by Jonathan Mills, our Director of Accounts and Partnerships here at Toad. Jonathan,
Oh,
good to see you.
nice to see you as well. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk about CES.
Absolutely. So you went to CES. What was one of the best sessions you went to?
Well, I did attend CES digitally. Very different experience this year from previous years. I've been a long-time CES attendee. There's certainly some benefits not to having walked miles and miles and miles through Las Vegas. So I'm not hating on the digital experience of CES this year. And also, to be completely transparent, one of the coolest aspects of a digital CES for me was the ability to slow down and actually engage with some of the content. Historically, when you're at these shows, I miss a lot of the presentations. In meetings, I'm going to meeting different individuals. I'm, up in the suites with clients, so I'm not really having an opportunity to really engage from an educational standpoint. So I really wanted to take advantage of that this year, and was able to consume quite a few different tracks of work. But my most interesting panel that I was able to catch was called Privacy and Trust with Amazon, Google, and Twitter. And it was a discussion, obviously, of consumer trust in the marketplace. And I thought it was pretty amazing that they had Keith Enright, Chief Privacy Officer at Google, Damian Kieran, who's the Chief Privacy Officer of Twitter, and Ann Toth, who's the Director of Alexa Trust at Amazon. So really senior executives talking about what privacy to these major platforms is looking like in 2021. And if anyone's been following the news, it seems to be more and more privacy is a major consideration for U.S. consumers. And at Toad, which I know you know because you've done a lot of the work, one of the more interesting projects that we've had recently is involving privacy in Europe, particularly with the retention of data and computer vision. And I'm sure you can talk a little bit about that. But Toad's been a bit of ahead of the curve in that category, and it was really nice to hear from a takeaway perspective the executives talking about what they imagine the privacy considerations in the US are going to look like over the next 2 to 4 years, which very much aligns with your conversation and my conversation that you and I have been having with our clients, which is we imagine that and it's a perception thing. I don't necessarily see it as restrictive, but the covenants that are being put in place in Europe are going to be extended to consumers here in the US. Mm-hmm. And it's usually, from an infrastructure standpoint, it's the last thing to happen, right? And we are coaching our clients, at least I think we are positioned this way, is saying, hey, this will happen. And the sooner that you get your arms around what that looks like, what this future state looks like, where consumer privacy is actually something that companies need to respect and pay attention to, it's going to make developing products, platforms, and applications a little bit different.
I definitely think that the 2020s will be the decade of trust. Not just the decentralization of finance, but decentralization of storage, of the web, of production. It's going to be a pretty remarkable decade in the space of trust. From that session you went to, what is one or two of your biggest takeaways from it?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway was the alignment of these three very different but very similar platforms around the direction, right? When the moderators asked the group, to make predictions around privacy, consumer privacy in America, and where did each of them feel we were headed, they all said the same thing, which is in their minds, in the next 12 to 18 months, there will likely be some sort of legislation put forth by the new administration to tighten up consumer privacy regulation in the United States, and that all of these large entities, Google, Twitter, and AWS, are operating under the presumption that that's going to happen. And that was a big takeaway, because it's something that we as at Metal Toad have certainly, believed, but it was great to hear it confirmed by these larger entities in the marketplace, quite frankly. So I think it was a great opportunity for me to kind of have some bias confirmation from my own perspective. And then the other takeaway was from the session was really how to navigate this space and how much there is yet to learn, right? This idea of users retaining the rights to their own data and how that gets either exploited or not exploited is going to be a really interesting scenario to manage over the next, as you said, the 2020s, right? And I'm not a political person, but I know that Andrew Yang had a really interesting idea about helping individuals monetize their own data, and taking that back and saying, hey, you know what, you as an individual, your habits, your taste, your desires, your interests are worth something in the marketplace. And I'm really intrigued to see how that manifests itself over the next 3 to 5 years.
Oh, I am as well. Going forward, what is some counsel that you would offer our customers now that you've attended CES and gotten some insights?
So now that I've attended CES and the insights coming out of this particular session around privacy, my counsel to our clients is that privacy considerations for your user base are going to be major considerations that you will have to address at a fundamental level. Meaning, if you have a large consumer-facing platform, or that you are touching individuals on a daily basis via a website or an application, you'll be needing to think about how you're interacting with those consumers, what kind of data, what's your data strategy, specifically around retention and exploitation of that consumer interest. Because I think for a long time, and I think you probably know more than I do, there's been a strategy of data retention without thought to privacy considerations. It's been, well, it's third party, it's first party, it doesn't matter what party data it is, we should be retaining it and we should put it in a data lake, and at some point or another, this is going to be valuable. I feel like we've probably reached that point where I'm counseling my clients, hey, there are amazing ML and AI tools that we can use to drive value out of your data, but this privacy consideration, if you want to bulletproof yourself or future-proof your applications and platforms, the presumption should be things are going to be more restrictive, not less restrictive moving forward.
And comes with a substantial impact on the business models that the customers have. So
yeah,
that's a good point. Jonathan, thank you for joining today. Thank you for taking the time out.
It was great. Thank you so much for having me, Tony. It's always great to have these sessions and to actually take a minute to think about the experiences of attending these conferences and being able to share those insights out with you and our clients is always great.
Awesome. And to our viewers, if you're interested in learning more, please reach out to us at metaltoad.com. Join our newsletter. Join us on LinkedIn. We're always standing by to help you out. Thank you all.